Morning, sheeple. This is Bad Influencer here. Haven't posted for a little while. We've had a bit of a heat wave here. It's just crazy. I mean, what sort of some not even. I've got an air conditioner, but not even that was helping. But yeah, we seem to be through it now. Had a few thunderstorms and it's freshened up a bit. So I'm gonna do. This is one of my. This is one of the deep dive videos I wanted to do. I'll be following up with some QAnon stuff a bit later, but this one is about the COVID-19, and I know questions have been asked before, but I just wanted to get something done, just in case it comes. I think it's a question, and this is about the origins of COVID-19. I know we know it's the Wuhan fish market, um, but there's some questions that I think need to be answered, and even if they were answered, I think they were glossed over towards the beginning. Um, China's not the most transparent country in the world, um, so I'm just gonna go over them again. You might have heard the stories before, but yeah. So I'm just gonna walk through what I think. So I mean, as a disclaimer, I'm not, this is nothing to do with coronavirus as a disease. It exists. People are getting it. People are dying, and it still seems to be on the increase. So even though some countries seem to have a control over it. Well, there's no control over it. That's the trouble. They're doing their best with lockdowns and that. So this is not. I'm not disparaging or saying anything about the disease. It's definitely there. People are definitely getting it. I want to talk more about how it all started and why that all seems to have been glossed over. I think there's more to it um, than meets the eye. And there are definitely some questions, and I hope someone does come back to this. I mean, this is just going to be my video. This is my thoughts on it. So I mean, I've got 12 subscribers, so 12 people are going to know what I'm thinking. But the trouble is, there's 7 billion people in the world. So there's definitely something needs to be done on a bigger scale. Um, so I'll basically go through it. I'm going to try a different type of filming today because I've got web pages and that to show you. So without further ado, let's kick off. And this is my first deep dive. And this is to do with COVID-19, the coronavirus. Here we go. Right. As you can see, it's all gone a bit fancy. I've been learning how to do a bit of software. So today's deep dive is just some questions I want to ask about the COVID-19. So let me just state at the start that I'm not saying the disease doesn't exist. It clearly does. It's a global pandemic. People are losing their lives all over the world. It seems to be accelerating in some parts of the world, and some other parts of the world they seem to maybe have a bit of a grip of it. We're here doing okay. We're easing our lockdown rules, although travel to other countries is quite restricted at the moment. So it exists. I'm not about to put a tinfoil hat on and say that it doesn't. But I mean, I got some questions. I mean, this has been going on now. This is the 15th of August. And there's just some questions that may have been asked at the beginning, but have definitely been overlooked since or glossed over. So basically, according to the World Health Organization, this is their timeline of the World Health Organization's response to COVID-19. So basically, they didn't know anything about it till the 31st of December 2019. So that's 8.5 months ago, beginning of 2020. And basically, the epidemic intelligence from open source Orsis platform, they picked up a media report on ProMed. So let's take a look at that. And this is just an undiagnosed pneumonia request for information. So this was sent on the 30th of December last year. According to the above documents, according to the urgent notice from the superior, some medical institutions in Wuhan have successively had appeared patients with pneumonia of unknown cause. All medical institutions should strengthen the management of outpatient and emergency department, strictly implement the first in patient responsibility system, and find that patients with unknown cause of pneumonia actively adjust the power to treat them on the spot, and there should be no refusal to be pushed, whatever that means. The so-called unexplained pneumonia cases refer to the following 4 cases of pneumonia that cannot be diagnosed at the same time: fever greater or equal to 38 degrees centigrade, imaging characteristics of pneumonia or acute respiratory distress syndrome, reduced or normal white blood cells in the early stages of onset, the number of lymphocytes was reduced. After treatment with antibiotics for 3 to 5 days, the condition did not improve significantly. This is important here. It is understood that the first patient with unexplained pneumonia that appeared in Wuhan this time came from the Wuhan, South China seafood market. Right, so this is all happening at the end of last year. Let's go back to the timeline. And so that all kicked it off, and basically we all know what happened since. Right, so bearing in mind this is all kicked off at the 1st of January. Last October, in Wuhan, they hosted the 2019 Military World Games, and that's this here. So it was held in Wuhan in 2019 and was held from October the 18th to the 27th in 2019 in Wuhan. Right, so this was basically a bit like the Olympics, but for the military. So everyone from around the world sent soldiers or military resources to compete. So it says here 10,000 athletes from over 100 countries competing in 27 sports. Right, so basically the end of October last year, let's have a look at this. 9,308 athletes from 110 countries turned up to compete in these games. Right, so let's take a look at a few of these people. So the United States, 172. China, obviously, just going to send their home, sent 553. Italy spent 139. Sent 139. India and Pakistan sent soldiers. The United Kingdom didn't. Come to that later. Canada did. The other big numbers here. Spain sent 111. Spain. And Italy sent 139. So that's all these fit and healthy soldiers or naval people, military people, fit and healthy, young, were sent all into Wuhan in China. This was the end of October. Right, bearing in mind that there was no virus then, there was no virus until the end of December. So this is a full 2 months before before any appearance of the virus. So now let's take a look at the Wuhan Sports Centre. So this is it down here. This is where the majority of the games took place. So all 10,000 people. So that there was a starting and ending ceremony, and they'd have all congregated at this point. So this was all done and dusted by the end of October. Everyone had got their medals. There was who can march the straightest, who's got the shiniest boots, who can parachute from a high distance. They've all got the gold medals. They're all happy. And maybe a few of them during that week, and that said, "Oh, let's go out on the town." I want to celebrate the fact that I've got the shiniest buttons. I got the gold medal for that. Represented my country well. I fancy, what I fancy? I fancy a big bowl of bat soup. So basically, they're going to go, "Oh yeah, well we're going to go to the taxi drivers and say, hey, mate, I want some bat soup. Where is there anywhere you know of that sell that?" Well, there's the Wuhan fish market, which let's take a look at here, and the Wuhan South China seafood market is here. So they're basically driven all the way up from here. I'm taking you the fastest way. It's all just all the way up here. It's only about it's about 30 kilometers. And then drops him off there and goes, "You'll get the best bat soup here, pal. This is fantastic. Stay away from some of the other stuff. It's a bit unhygienic sometimes, but yeah, you'll get definitely some bat soup in there." So they got out the taxi, went into the Wuhan South China seafood place, and had their bat soup. And this was all done at the latest at the end of October, because at the end of October everyone flew home, and then 2 months later the first case of COVID-19 was discovered here. So they couldn't possibly be related, could they? October, end of October, the game's finished. Everybody went home. I mean, they didn't say, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go AWOL. I'm gonna go AWOL and hang around in Wuhan for 2 months just for a laugh, because it's fantastic, And I tell you what, that bat soup, that was worth going AWOL for. So they all go AWOL. No, they don't go AWOL, do they? So they all pop onto their planes and fly back, all to their 100 odd countries: Spain, Italy, the US, and they go home and they go back to their bases, and maybe go and see their family. And that these are all fit and healthy young men and women, military people, and that's it basically. 2 months pass, and then the virus is discovered here, and we all know what happened there. So when all the outbreak happened, a few people made the connection that there was these Wuhan games, but everybody was saying, "Well, it was 2 months, so it's got nothing to do with the all the fact that there was 10,000 military personnel in Wuhan." And 2 months later, it's not going to be affecting anyone. So I found this story on this is the American Prospect. Now they may well be biased. I've got no reason to assume they aren't. But I'm really just pulling from the facts that we can pull from this article. So So these are the opening ceremonies. There would have been probably a closing ceremony as good as that one. So all 10,000 athletes are going to attend, aren't they? So that's going to be, the October the 27th, but they were all here on October the 18th. Now, I'm taking the US as an example because let's have a look. The United States sent 172 people. Right. Now, according to this one, there was nearly 300 members of the US military. So it might have been some support people or people came with their wives and that. But basically, whatever the number was, they all turned up, they all participated, and then they all flew home again. Some of them with gold medals for having their hat on straight, who had it on the straightest, who had the shiniest gun. That was a well thought out event that was, and who had the best buzz cut. I'd have maybe got bronze for that had I been in the military and in China at that point, but I wasn't. So basically, these 300 members of this newspaper's article saying it's at least 100 odd people. So, and when the games ended, they returned home to at least 219 home bases in 25 states. Now, I'm not sure. That number might not be accurate because, according to the Wikipedia page, it was only 100 odd. 100 odd military personnel. But I mean, it could be 300, including all the support people. But it's saying here they went home to at least 219 home bases in 25 states without ever being screened for possible COVID-19 infection. Well, of course not, because nobody knew about COVID-19 at the end of October. It was 2 months later. So, as it says here, according to the Pentagon, there was no reason to do so then, because the games were held from October the 18th to the 27th, and it was prior to the reported outbreak. So basically, it's quoting here: an investigation of COVID-19 in the military from official and public source materials show that a strong correlation exists in COVID-19 cases reported at US military facilities that are home bases, that the home bases of members of the US team that went to Wuhan. So a strong correlation. Now, I'm not sure where they're citing that from, but the US has had it hit hard, and you'd think it wouldn't be as bad as it was, but the trouble is that, and this is my hypothesis, is that somehow or other the virus did exist before the end of October, and it was somehow transmitted or originated. I'm not saying how it happened. I mean, they're saying that it was a naturally occurring virus that leapt from animal to human. So, but basically, a full 2 months before they said there was a COVID-19, there was a fantastic opportunity for COVID-19 to appear and spread, because each one of these military personnel, they would have been fit and healthy. They may not even have felt that they were suffering any symptoms. They might have just had a cold or pneumonia. It's that time of year, isn't it? Not pneumonia, the flu. And then they all went home to their respective bases. I mean, as it stands here, they all flew in and out of Seattle. So the US team used chartered flights to and from the games via Seattle Tacoma International Airport. Now, Washington was one of the earliest states to show a spike in COVID-19. So I mean, I do think that it is a concern that these people were not tested, especially going into an area that might be a huge probability. Dr. Ravina Kolar. an infectious diseases expert said, well, that the reason is there was no COVID-19 when they were flying in and out. But if there was, and they were flying back, there's plenty of places that it could be contagious through that airport, all the way back to their home bases. These people then going out to see family, or getting a pass then for Christmas a bit later. Still the virus doesn't exist. Oh yeah, I've got a week off. I'm going to go and visit my family in Florida. I'm going to go and see my uncle in Texas. I'm gonna see Barbara Ann in California. So this is my Pelican brief. Basically, I'm saying that there's no way it originated at the end of December in a Wuhan fish market. I'm saying that 10,000 military personnel in Wuhan Stadium at the end of even during the games, had ample opportunity to catch COVID-19 from whatever source. Now, I'm not saying what that source was. They're saying it jumped from animal to human. That may well be the case. I'm not an expert in these things, but I'm just asking a question that I want answered because it was glossed over. There was 2 or 3 reports about it back in March or April time, and it was interesting back then. But since then, I mean, it's the middle of August now, and they have not. Nothing's been investigated further, as far as I know. And really, it's, if we're holding the Chinese to account for the origins of the virus, if it is this one woman in a Wuhan fish market, then why aren't we going more after China? Surely, I mean, they have some responsibility. I mean, imagine the wreck that the world is in now, the financial ruins a lot of countries are facing, a lot of people are facing. It's not even the money, the mental health of people that's been affected through lockdowns and all that. And no one is holding the Chinese to account. You can't say these things happen. They don't. They don't happen. So, it could well be one woman in Wuhan, mixing up a bat soup, for Christ's sake, with something a bit dodgy, or just appearing. But it makes more sense to say, hang on, something happened during this Wuhan military games. I mean, look at the numbers Italy and Spain have had. That they were wrecked by the virus. So, and they both sent a large number of soldiers to Wuhan. So, I mean, the United Kingdom didn't, but the reason I'm bringing that up is that the fact that they didn't doesn't really make a difference, because London is quite a hub. So is New York. New York is it's a huge travel hub, and all these places have basically been demolished by it. So I want accountability, and I want the truth. You're never going to get the truth out of China, which just all these conspiracy theories like this one. Add it to the list. Everyone's got a thought on it. I just think not enough is done. We take too much without standing up to it. We get patted on the head, and there's a good boy. There's a good boy. Now go and find another job, because your job's gone, mate. Your job's gone, and your savings. Spend them now. Your life's basically over. And I'm just sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it. Either it started in China, and China is accountable. China is accountable for what happened. And there's been no repercussions. oh, we don't want to play the blame game. Well, we do want to play the blame game. So, and at the moment, China's in the frame. So, prove me otherwise. Is what China should be saying. Or themselves be saying. If they know more than they're letting on, they should tell us. So, there is no way that virus did not exist before. The end of December. I say it's just too big a coincidence in my mind, right? And I know coincidences happen, but some are too big to ignore, and some, if you want to ignore them, they warrant further investigation before you do. And I really wish some proper journalists would do that. Um, so yes, I'm quite angry. But this is my deep dive into coronavirus. It wasn't much of a deep dive. Because I was going to do QANON, wasn't I? Well, I did do QAnon, but I messed around with all this software, got it working, and I thought I'll have a go with this. So if you agree, let me know in the comments. If you liked it, subscribe, and I'll see if I can keep you entertained one way or another. Well, not no. I mean, I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything sick or anything like that to try and entertain you. It'd all be good, clean fun. So yeah, so that's my deep dive. That's my questions about COVID-19 that I want answers for, because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the world. Stop the world, I want to get off. Isn't that what they say? So we're just digging our own graves, and it's just well. And if you agree with this sigh, then you're on my side. So anyway, subscribe if you want. This is Bad Influencer UK signing off. I hope you're all keeping safe, and look after everyone. So you take care.